This thing on. We're back. Let's go. Every day we gonna get to it. Little scalpel out, baby. Let's go. Gonna review the day. Talk about the lessons learned, which there are several, and yeah, definitely some errors made today. Things that I want to go over, and kind of dissect my thinking process. Let's take a look at the challenge so far. I ended up kind of just breaking even today. Pretty much throughout this week, I think I've just been breaking even, and I think that's okay right now. I mean, technically I'm not, because you can see gross profits about 550, gross loss about 500, so small profitable. But again, it's not the big picture right now, and it's very easy to get caught up in that being the big picture. Is oh, I want to win and oh, I want to make money, but really, the stage here is giving me a risk-free opportunity to really put myself in the shoes of my future professional trading self and do what a professional trader does. And I'm definitely starting to see the things I'm good at, the things I'm not good at, and where I will truly be able to grow. And I'm only going to get better from this challenge. But me being able to break even, um, and be pretty much a break-even trader this week, especially the first week of trading in this prop firm, I'm taking that shit as a win, man. And you know, because there are some errors that I'm making. So once I'm able to clean up those errors, I mean, being profitable is pretty. Seems like it's just gonna be um automatic, man. You know, because I'm profitable while I make my mistakes, and I think once I clean up a few little errors that I'm making, that um my progress is gonna start to really skyrocket. But right now, I'm just doing my best, and once those trading demons come up, I'm doing my best to try to manage them. But yeah, I could definitely feel like some old habits that come in. But anyways, um, let's kind of jump into the recording here. Started the day off with a really nice trade on SONA. This was a pretty good momentum mover. Um, yeah, as you can see, kind of going, it kind of popped like going into 5 a.m. here. Kind of just went sideways. But then as we were going into 7 a.m., this thing started to make a move. It broke out of pre-market highs right here. I didn't get down to my computer till literally when I was seeing this 5-minute pullback happen right here. So as you can see, we kind of grinded here, started to extend. We broke through pre-market highs and made a nice 1-minute pullback, ripped again. And I was interested in trading that next 5-minute setup because this thing seemed to have some pretty good momentum. And as you can see, I was pretty quick to get into a trade here. Let me go back. Yeah, so once I seen we were close to the 5-minute EMA here, and we started to bounce. Here's that first 1-minute candle to make a new high right there. Went ahead and took an entry. Or if I didn't immediately, I had to very shortly after. When did I get in here? I should be in right now. So this was definitely a later entry. But nonetheless, I ended up getting in, risking the low of this pullback. See how it plays out here. You can see volume is ever so slightly starting to increase here. We want to see this level break right here, and ultimately start pushing for new highs. You can see it kind of wanted to dip down a little bit here, which is fine. We actually came down, tested my risk off, which I didn't see break. I was actually watching the tape this time, confirming that, and I'm glad I did because as you can see, it came down and tested that support level right here, my risk off as well, and then it started to reverse, and it started to continue higher here. I think I ended up adding some more. Yeah, so I'm just sitting on 200 shares right here. 662. I was risking in just about 50 bucks on this trade. Once we broke through this level right here, I think I tried to take some off. I put an order out for 7. Yep. So I think that was a good idea. So I'm trying to gauge how I take my profits. Most of the time, I think it's good. On other trades, I might be taking them too soon, but I usually think, I try to find a halfway point. Like, this is about 685. That's about 20 cents per share of profit. I usually think that's I usually find like a halfway point to the flagpole, because the flagpole is like the ultimate goal. But I always do like, I don't like it coming all the way up and maybe not even hitting the flagpole and then maybe failing and then I didn't take any off the table. So I've usually established like this halfway point where I find like a resistance point off to the left where it had failed, kind of like right here. And that's usually where I take some profit. We had the $7 psychological level right there. Pretty good. I think it's a good idea to take some off the table here, and that's what I did. I took half, and I think I should be holding the rest for new highs. Let's see. Actually sold it a bit early here. So, looking here, I actually think that is an emotional response on the second half. I'm just going to throw it out there and kind of just think on that a little bit. Yeah, because I ended up taking more off the table here. And, I'm thinking maybe I was fearful that, it would come back to my entry, but I really didn't have a reason to cut my second half. This thing was still breaking out. And look at that. I think I should have held that other half. So yeah, definitely something, that's all we're doing. I'm judging these trades, not trying to be too hard on myself or anything like that. Just things that can make me better. And I think for this trade right here, again, I already took half up here. That's fine, but I think I could have held this other half like I normally would do, looking for this, looking for the new highs right here all the way up at 740s. And there was nothing that really told me why I should sell the rest right here. I think I was kind of just like looking for a base hit, which, that's fine, but I think especially like trying to have a fresh start, I need to get into those habits of, letting my winners run. Because yeah, I did leave some profits off the table right here. Because ultimately, you see, very nice breakout right here. Even pushed all the way up to $8 right here. So yeah, I didn't have a reason to sell here at all, really. I definitely could have waited and got some more out of here without being too overconfident or too greedy on it. As you can see, as we were coming into 7 a.m., started to fail a little bit. But that was that trade. That's how I started my morning. I was pretty happy with that. Then we went to ARET, which I took 3 consecutive losses on, and I think that was just one too many for sure. And I think there, I might have been getting a little frustrated. And I think it started first because I missed this first. Let me see if I catch it. Yeah, so when I first pulled up AERT, this was that very first 5-minute pullback, and I didn't not take it. I just missed this. I didn't see it. And this was a pretty great pullback. And the reason I like this one so much is because this one did have news. It made a nice move here. Set up a 1-minute flag, didn't break out, and continued to pull back. And as you can see, it just pulled back, pulled back, pulled back, and kind of settled right here. And then boom, first 1-minute candle to make a new high. Here's your risk off. I really like when they do these, where they make a nice deep pullback. This would have been a really great trade right here, and I just unfortunately missed the whole thing. But I was willing, and again, so thinking back on my strategy right here, this is the second 5-minute pullback. This is always going to be my bread and butter. And I don't think that I was wrong for, again, I have been telling myself that I want to take only the first ones. But I kind of opened myself up this morning, I guess, to try this one. So not only did I miss the first 5-minute pullback, I also missed the second because I technically could have entered right here off this first 1-minute candle to make a new high. As you can see, that one tried to make a move, but it continued to pull back. But I said, you know what? This is pretty nice price action. The volume profile looks pretty good, and I was willing to give it a shot. I believe right here. Yep. So I got a little bit of a higher entry here, but once this kind of tapped this area over here again, I was like, okay, if the 1 minute candle makes a new high, I'm gonna go ahead and take an entry, and we're gonna look for this thing to push for new highs. Boom, right there. That was my first stop out on it, as you can see. So let's just back up. Again, I took 3 tries at this. That was way too many. Especially this being the second 5-minute pullback, I should have realized in the moment that that was just way too many tries. But despite taking 3 straight losses on it, which was definitely like a little bit of frustration, a little bit of revenge trading, I cut these things right when I said I was going to cut them every single time. And for that, I'm proud of myself that I never bag hold it. I said, hey, like right here, the risk was 116. I said, if I see 115s come in the tape right here, I'm getting out and I'm going to cut it. Look at that. 115 came through. I was out instantly. Just immediately cut it. No drama. I was like, okay. But yeah, I tried to hold right here and I was like, okay, you know, sometimes I'm willing to give it another try, especially if I cut my loss on time and I kept it small, you know, and it wants to hold this level, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I'm willing to try it again. As you can see, we had a pretty nice, you know, wick off that level. I was like, okay, you know, maybe this is actually going to hold up, and it just wanted to fake out that level a little bit. Again, I was being patient again. I'm like, okay, I'll try the first 1 minute candle to make a new high again. Right here, now risking a breakdown of that 115 level where buyers stepped up. And then I was looking for it to break, because then, you know, now we have like this very clear downtrend area right now. I was looking for that to break out. As you can see, it wants to try here, try it a little bit of rejection. As you can see, I got stopped at again. And right there, that should have been my sign. I should have been like, you know what? It's just not worth it. I mean, I was telling myself that. I was telling myself this. But again, I guess I was just trusting that I was going to cut it. So I kind of want to show you, like, you know, what I'm doing when I'm taking losses. You know what I mean? So 115's here. In my mind, I'm like, if I see 114 start coming through on the tape, I'm going to cut the trade. See 115's coming in. I might even cut it a little early. Oh, we had this bidder here at 114 too. So I'm like, yeah, if that cuts, instant cut. Cut it instantly again. But I mean, if I just took 2 tries on it and we're not breaking out, man, like that, I think that was a sign of weakness. And I should have just probably stopped right there, went and took a break. You know, I just nailed a really nice trade on SNOA. And I was getting a little bit forceful here. So what, that was the second one? That was the second trade. But yeah, this thing was just like, it was trappy, you know what I mean? But sometimes you just can't fall for this shit, you know? Especially as the volume was starting to like dwindle away. If this thing was really strong, it would have broke. I think it would have broke out. Honestly, think it would have just broke out. As you can see, we're coming down here, and I'm like, okay, well, this is even lower risk now. But still, I think I could have just avoided this, because as I was watching this, I'm pretty sure there was another play that I was missing. But I was like, you know what? Hey, maybe this thing's still gonna go, but I don't think it was worth it. But I did. As soon as like we settled here again, this is my 3rd attempt at this trade. And I'm like, okay, let's see if we can maybe get that move. Because I kind of liked it. I liked the news and the volume was good. And I was like, hey, you know. But yeah, it was one too many trades on this one. I need to set a rule, like maybe 2 max if I'm not taking freaking 3 losses in a row. But you can see like we had a nice downtrend. And I'm like, hey, if this thing breaks, like it could squeeze, you know. It was coming up to test that downtrend. I'm like, hey, man, if we break through this thing, you know, it could be a good trade, but damn, again. On this one, I'm like, if I see 110s, gonna stop out of this one. Let's see. And yeah, I kept the risk, you know, pretty manageable on these, but yeah, 3 losses in a row on 1 trade is just not smart. I don't think it was smart. That's okay. Like, that's why we do these reviews, and yeah, we got 111s coming through. Yep, right there. And I cut it instantly. You can see there was no hesitations at all. which again, that's good. I got some practice at cutting losses on time on this trade, that's for sure. But again, I think this was one or two entries that I could have avoided, and maybe just been more patient and waited for the next play. Because yeah, we had XPON here, which I think would have been a much better, you know, since I did miss this, which would have been the ideal entry, because it's that very first second 5-minute pullback, puts in a nice wick, 1 minute candle to make a new high, boom, you get that move right here. I feel like that was the better entry, but I missed that one, and instead I took maybe a lower quality, if you will, here. I took a second, and I took a third. All the while, XPON had this setup here, which isn't anything super crazy, but it would have generally been a better trade because, again, I was so focused on trying to make that other one work that I did miss this one, make this nice move, and this one ended up being a big mover for the day. I ended up getting volume, pulling back right to the VWAP, which is a pretty good area to try to take a trade, and I missed this one. As you can see, I think this one ended up, at least giving new highs. So, just a lesson, like, I'm trying to force that other trade to work. Maybe thinking that there's not going to be anything else for the day, and I missed this one. So, again, here's some opportunity for me to grow. Like, if I take that loss, maybe I just need to, let's take a look around, see if there's other opportunities out there, because there was, and I missed it. But I didn't like, revenge trade into this one and like grab a shitty entry or anything like that, which I think was good. There's just no reason. Not to say that my old self wouldn't, but let's see what we got here. Well, let's go back and see. So yeah, those are my 3 straight losses right here on AERT. And then we went to TR. Okay, yeah, so that was it for pre-market. I didn't end up trading anything else for pre-market. Okay, so yeah, but XPON. So I kind of want to take a look at XPON. Let's go. Oh wow, I got to open it. Okay, I'm just gonna bring this down here so we can look at XPON real quick. Oh no, that's not gonna work. You know what? Let me pull up my platform real quick so we can take a look. But yeah, so I was getting ready for work. I kind of missed this, but it was definitely a missed trade. Not that I didn't take it. It was, a pretty good opportunity. From pretty much from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. That was pretty much the runner. All right, so XPON. Let's kind of see. We'll go back to pre-market. As you can see, yeah, this thing went freaking crazy today. But kind of zoom in here. Yeah, this was it. Kind of, going into 7 a.m. It popped at 4 a.m. Made a big move. It kind of just pulled back all morning, and then look at this. This is, man, I like seeing this, man. I really do, and I feel like it can get overlooked. Look at this downtrend right here. It's very clear, and it's very easy to see. What makes this a good trade right here is that we broke, this thing is pulling back, it's just kind of pulling back all morning. And then after 7 a.m., we break through that downtrend. That's a fresh move. And the volume, although it didn't increase like anything crazy, let me get that out of the way. You can see here that more volume came in. And I'd like seeing that. So as opposed to something that just like pops fresh out of news and like it wasn't grinding all pre-market or anything, it kind of just something that just caught news and the price is going up and it's fresh. I do like this because it's very clear to see that we were in a very clear downtrend and now we broke out of it. I like trading that first pullback after that, and that's exactly what I did yesterday on BSLK. So definitely a mistrade here, but I'm glad I'm seeing this now. Like, this is definitely something to watch. Like, okay, we're popping here, but what's the bigger picture? The bigger picture is that we were in this massive downtrend. Let's switch to the 5-minute. You'll be able to see it a little better. Yeah, so we were in this massive downtrend, and then we pop through, and it puts in a pretty nice 5-minute candle right here. Gives you that first 5-minute pullback and breaks out for new highs. Nothing crazy, but then it pulls back again, and then we get this huge move. And this is the move I kind of want to highlight. That started at 8 a.m. Oh no. What happened here? Okay. Yeah, so this was the play I missed, but this was a really good play. Now we're really starting to crank on some volume here. We're really starting to put in some nice moving candles. This is definitely something that I would have loved to just at least try to trade. This is more of a 1-minute setup, but I think the reason that this thing broke out like this is because I don't want to go back to the 5-minute, but if you looked at the 5-minute chart, this was close enough to the 5-minute EMA that it was ready to go. And you know how you could have played this was, again, you got that nice wick right here. First 1-minute candle to make a new high. Yeah, you could have took an entry, maybe a little bit riskier, but I mean, this thing just caught so much volume. It's the very first pullback. You know, that's a good trade. That's a good trade, and I'm definitely trying to incorporate these shorter pullbacks, if you will, because normally, you know, I'm looking for like a nice deeper pullback, maybe over a little bit more time, like 5 to 10 minutes. As you can see, this was just only a couple minutes of pullback right here, and then it rips for new highs. But where would I have been interested? I definitely would have been interested in this, which is the next 5-minute pullback. As you can see, you kind of get an opportunity there. Comes in, puts in a dip. First 1-minute candle to make a new high. Boom. Tried. Boom. You get a little push here, but ultimately it comes, breaks down, gives another pop. You know what I mean? But this was a little choppier. But then we have to go to TRIB. So I'm gonna go over XPON, how we were trading at open. But first, I took a loss right at the open on a pretty low quality setup, and I definitely think this was my biggest mistake of the day because this just was not my setup, and I put quite a bit of risk on this one. Nothing super crazy, but it was not worth the risk that I put on it. $70 for loss on this was stupid. But we're gonna go over it. I do not have it recorded, so we're just gonna pull it up. And this definitely got my emotions running, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys something, man. For me, I could be crazy. Oh, hold on. Let me see if am I putting it in right? I think the biggest thing that will set off an emotional roller coaster for me, I think it all starts with stock selection and trade selection. That's where it all starts. The setups that I choose to hit that buy button on are always up to me. And whether those are good setups or bad setups, that is always the start of what could be an emotional reaction. Which again, when I'm reading, emotions aren't always bad, but a negative emotion reaction that leads to poor trading decisions. Oh, do I have an open order here? No, I don't. But yeah, so I did see this. This thing made a very nice move going into the open. It had news, and this thing was cranking volume out. Pretty good volume on this name. The price was nice, and we were pulling back into the open. I kind of seen it come down, bounce right here. But guys, sorry, I have so much freaking heartburn. Once I seen it bounce right here, and this was a new 5-minute candle. So if I was to switch to the 5-minute candle, let's see. Maybe I can give you a better picture, kind of like what I was seeing. I seen this candle right here. So I'm like, okay, we just put in a dip, and this is a 5-minute push candle. That's the reason that I entered it, but it wasn't really my setup, man. I guess you can say this was like the first 5-minute pullback because it ripped going into open, but this wasn't like the best. But I guess I can kind of see like why I was like inclined to take it. I guess that was kind of like my idea behind it. And I felt like I could manage it, which I did. You know, I didn't like bag hold or anything like that. I cut it when it broke my risk. But again, this wasn't like all over here, because I did take some trades on it later, and these would have been much better trades as we're pushing for new highs, but this is more on a downtrend. So I was kind of playing it on the wrong trend right here. And this definitely sparked up some emotions on this loss for me because it was a bigger size loss relatively. Nothing I can't handle, but still, it was more than I needed to take on this. So, but you see here, put in a dip, and I grabbed that first 1 minute candle to make a new high. I had about 177s, maybe 178s, and I was risking the low of this pullback. As you can see, it tried, but then it ultimately it came in right here when it broke down. I took the loss just for it to consolidate. And we'll talk about this move in a second. But let's go back to XPON. So yeah, after taking those 3 straight losses on AERT and pre-market, I didn't start off the open market good. And I feel like it forced me to miss this next trade on XPON, where I feel like I would have been able to otherwise capitalize on it. But I felt emotional, man. The emotions kicked in. I was getting nervous, and yeah, it just wasn't a good start. But I was still able to take some decent trades, but ultimately I missed. This was probably the better trade, even though this was super choppy. But so remember, we were kind of consolidating going into the open. It popped. I think it halted down at the open. Put in a big dip, but it recovered right here. And then we started to push right here. And this was a pretty good setup. As you can see, I need to make this a little bigger. Okay, that's fine. So I might have missed this completely, but the bigger picture here is that we kind of halted down at the open, a big push, but we recovered quickly, and then we started to push again. And it kind of looked like it wanted to, like it was setting up, consolidating, pulling back to break all these levels to the left, all the pre-market highs, the opening high. And I think that this was a good setup. It was very choppy. I mean, you can see the price action was not clean. So ultimately we have new high of day right here. That would be our level to break here. So as you can see, we recovered. We broke back over the VWAP. Let's switch to the 5 minute real quick. I do want to see the 5 minute. So yeah, as you can see, volume was coming in. And we put in this first 5 minute flag. 5 minute flag. It was super choppy, but I just missed it, man. And I was watching it, and I wasn't even in the trade, and I just felt so nervous, and I just couldn't get myself to take an entry. And I really want to dig deep as to why that is, because I shouldn't have been afraid to take a trade here. So as you can see, it dipped kind of out the 5 minute 8 area right here and made a nice bounce. Here's the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Definitely a little higher, but still not bad risk. Not terrible risk. I mean, you have the low here is about 366. This is about 386, so that's 20 cents. 20 cents a share of risk. New highs is up here at 426, so you still have, that's still a 2 to 1. That's still a 2 to 1. Yeah, and I just didn't take it, man. Actually, well, I think I missed this one, but it consolidated here. And I didn't want to take another like guessing dip entry like right here, but honestly, I don't think it was a terrible idea. And watching this thing live, it was like, oh my god, this thing was freaking choppy. It was so choppy. But honestly, it wasn't bad. So you can see there's a very clear downtrend to break here. That's kind of like our flag. Downtrend, it's very common to see this. This is just kind of how they form. Let's just put it in a bright color. There you can see we're tapping, getting rejected. Then this thing dipped. It instantly got bought up. So like once this thing tried to break this trend line, it dipped down for a second, and then this thing instantly wicked up and just ripped right through new highs. And even there, whatever I would have got filled at, I think would have been a pretty good trade if I could just manage my risk. And if it came down to here and broke this level, I would have got out the trade, put a stop loss there. So if I did enter anywhere on this candle or in this area, risking the low of this pullback, I think that would have been okay. Yeah, I didn't get like that 1 minute candle to make a new high, but I don't want to put myself in a straitjacket to where I can't, take trades that are valid, because that was a valid dip. If I missed this was still a valid dip. And As you can see, we went from, low 370s to about 460s, and I'm telling you, this happened in like 30 seconds. It dipped and then just ripped right through new highs. It even pushed a little bit higher to like 470s. It got stuffed, but then it got back up again. But I was able to take this trade right here. Yeah, I missed this one, but I thought that this was some good consolidation. So now you kind of have the high up here at 470, and I kind of seen it was like wicking off this area. So once I seen the low right here, we got about 415s. This thing was setting up like this was like a more of a 5-minute 3-bar setup. But look at this. I mean, this thing was beautiful, man. I think once this 1 minute candle like broke a new high right here, I just punched it. I got in, and this thing just broke right out for new highs. And I think I put an order up here. I sold it at about 470s new highs. As you can see, it gave much more room than that. Ended up coming all the way up to 550 here. So I definitely should have traded this right here. I was nervous to trade it. I was definitely fearful to trade it, and those are the things that I need to be working on, because there's no reason. There's no reason, but I need to find out why I was feeling that way. And I definitely think that a contributor was because I took something that was not my setup. I didn't have the discipline to avoid that trade. So yeah, that's gonna have a negative impact on my awareness here, and it just wasn't a good way for me to start, because I could have, been completely focused on this. No trades at the open yet, and I could have, gave this a fresh look. But unfortunately, in the back of my head, I just took a $70 loss on something that wasn't even my setup, and that just doesn't get good thoughts going in my mind. So, but I was happy that I was able to execute on this one. I wasn't looking to be revengeful on this, but I'm like, hey, my setup is here, and it started to make a new high, and I just punched the order, just to give myself, some more experience executing on these types of setups, because I missed this one here. Here's the second one, and it looked like it wanted to trap, man, because I had clear levels to break, and yeah, this thing had a lot of momentum. And even here, up here, would have been able to trade this as well. I might have. I don't remember if I did, but as you can see, it makes another nice 5-minute flag pullback. Puts in a nice low right here. Here's your ultimate target to break. 1 minute candle to make a new high. Pretty close to your wrist. That would have been a good entry. It didn't break out for new highs, but you still got a decent little scalp if you would have taken that one. Let's see. And then I know this is a pretty long video, but we're gonna go over TRIB, and then I will call it a day, because TRIB was very nice. Even though I took this low quality setup here, I was able to capitalize a little bit in this area, I believe. I think it was here. But yeah, this was a great setup right here. This would have been another great opportunity. This was another 5-minute 3-bar setup. And these are valid, man. Yeah, it looks like just a 1-minute pullback, but this thing on the 5-minute was very close to the 5-minute 8, and it was ready to go, and it went. And sometimes you just got to take that shot. And I definitely wish I would have been able to. I don't know if I missed it. I don't remember if I missed this or not, but these are valid, man. Especially after we were just kind of consolidating into the open. XPON was pulling back. Now this thing's catching volume. And the momentum on these plays were higher today, so I definitely think it was worth a shot here. As you can see, put in the dip here. First 1-minute candle to make a new high. Boom! Broke right through and just broke right out. Another 1-minute flag, broke out again. It did get a little choppy here. As you can see, it kind of put in a nice dip here. Wicked up pretty instantly here. Kind of put in a bear flag. I mean, I could have even taken a 1-minute candle to make a new high set up here, risking the low of this pullback. As you can see, that would have worked out good. Let me see when I actually took a trade. I took 3, but these were smaller trades. I was kind of just executing on them, to be honest. 280 at 1102. Okay, yeah, so I actually grabbed, so once this was pulling, or once this was trying to make a move, and it pulled back again. I seen this candle dip and then it instantly wicked right up. I went ahead and punched an order on this one, risking the low of this pullback, looking for highs here at 317s, and I believe I got that. Pretty simple trade there. That worked out. I think I tried this again. I took a little loss, and then I got a little freaking scalp here. But ultimately, like, the big notes going into tomorrow would be to really try to focus in on hammering these setups when they're early, as opposed to, like, sticking around too long, and being aggressive when the momentum is high. Like right here and even right here are the best setups. So that first pullback and that second pullback. Once you kind of get up into the third right here, yeah, now we're just kind of get into over trading territory. But especially on like XPON, man, I should have took that one. But it's all good, man. Like, I'm starting to recognize, at least, like, I shouldn't have been nervous on this trade, because I've seen this before, man. And this thing had so much momentum, it was worth a shot. But yeah, I definitely should have been able to capitalize on this one, but I'm going to take all these lessons like I do. Just keep getting better and better. But yeah, that's all I got. Peace.